and welcome back to another edition of the Work Shoot Alliance. I'm Randy.
I'm Jim.
And David.
And David's going to be talking the most on this episode because he is the Ring of Honor person.
My jam.
Especially back in the day. I've watched a little bit, off and on, especially because of DVDs and stuff he had let me borrow over the years. Have you watched a ton?
I've watched a few. They actually had a season that you could buy off Xbox that I bought a while ago it was like when Chris Hero and Cesaro Castellano, I think his name was there.
Claudio Castagnoli.
That's what it was. Where they were tag champs for a minute, and Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly were tagging together for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So some decent episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about the 6 best Ring of Honor wrestlers, and we're going to start with Bryan Danielson. You know him better as Daniel Bryan. Doof, tell us about him.
He is exactly as dorky looking as he is now, and I had no idea about him. I watched the first Ring of Honor on tape. It was him and Christopher Daniels and Low Key in a 3-way, and I was like, who the hell is this American Dragon guy? And he was awesome, and he continued to be awesome. And did Jim have his title reign length, or because he defeated James Gibson for the title, who was Jamie Noble, and that was actually a really damn good match.
He had, where is he at?
He had a hell of a reign though.
One reign for 462 days.
Yeah,
Good.
And lost it to
reign.
Homicide. But yeah, he was just such an asshole too, and it was awesome. And he got the crowd to get the chant going of "You're gonna get your head kicked in," and singing it together.
I have to remember to bleep that. Thanks. I'll probably forget, and then Billy will make one of our monthly comments. You forgot it.
But yeah, he was in the middle of the CZW feud, and he still healed up on Ring of Honor during it, but didn't join CZW, and he stayed for quite a while, and he was always the big match guy, and he'd always get a good match. He had multiple hour-long matches, and
I think my experience was the same as you. I mean, you let me borrow a DVD, and here comes this dork coming out to the final countdown,
Yeah.
which is the greatest entrance team ever. And it was against Samoa Joe, and that match was amazing. And like you said, when he came out, I don't get it. This guy has this robe on that's 3 times too big for him. But I think that was his whole thing. Is like he didn't care about all the other stuff. He just cared about it in the ring, and it showed.
I didn't see too many of his Ring of Honor matches, but from what I've seen when he came into WWE in the NXT program, he was killer then. I'm assuming it was probably hands down nowhere near what he was doing in Ring of Honor, but yeah, he continues to grow and be a better athlete every day. Now that, especially with the comeback that he's had, you know.
yeah, it's just a hell of a story.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go on to Kevin Steen, who you better know as Kevin Owens. I mostly remember him from his matches with El Generico. I know they tagged a lot. I didn't see a lot of those matches, but their feud, I saw most of that, and it's all fantastic. I mean, he's kind of like Bryan Danielson. He doesn't look like your typical wrestler. A little bit bigger set. Usually wears T-shirts when he wrestles and stuff, so it's just different. But that's what I liked when Doof would let me have ROH tapes. It was just different than what you were seeing on TV, which is sadly not the same as it is now. It is very generic wrestling, but I like that it was just so over the top with the whole streamers into the ring for the main events and stuff. And honestly, it felt like its own thing. And that's what Kevin Steen felt like. He was his own guy, completely different than the rest.
Yeah, like when I first saw him, it was him and Generico against the Briscoes, and I had never heard of those two yet. Well, I obviously heard of the Briscoes, but all of a sudden, this not in shape looking guy is doing the freaking Swanton and all this good jazz. And when he finally had a good singles run, his feud with Generico was killer. Mm-hmm. They end up having those non-sanctioned matches. They put it on after the world title match even, and the crowd just ate up that feud. Ended up with Steen being gone for close to a year, I think, then came back and feuded with Jim Cornette. But these days, everyone's feuding with Cornette, so it's not really new news. But yeah, his title run was good. I think it might have been Davey Richards that he can't remember.
I don't know who he lost to, but he had one reign, 328 days.
Yeah.
So, damn near a year. And again, I didn't see too many of them, just little clips and stuff from him and Generico. And Yeah, he was doing phenomenal stuff for a guy his size back then. Right along the side, you look at Joe and those guys doing the things that they do, and it's just amazing to see when they put themselves to that point, they can do anything that all the skinny, flippy floppy dudes are doing. So
yeah, he had one of the most painful things I've ever seen too. Is against Nigel McGuinness, and he jumped off the top rope and did a flip towards him, but he landed directly on the guardrail, like ooh and he just continued the match fine still. But yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Go him.
All right. Jim brought him up, so let's talk about Samoa Joe. You may also... No, he's Samoa Joe. Never mind. That joke didn't work. I mostly know him from TNA. That's where I mostly watch him for. So tell us about him in Ring of Honor.
He was why I wanted to watch Ring of Honor. And also, it was from TNA because I saw him on there. I think it was against Chris Sabin. I was like, I need to watch that Ring of Honor Jazz more that everyone talks about. And his reign was epic. It was a good 18 months, if not more.
645 days.
Yeah, it was his match against Austin Aries where he lost it to, which just made Austin Aries, and he was one of those guys who probably nowadays like Cesaro. Everyone wanted to see do good, didn't think he'd reach another level, but then he did, and his feuds were pretty epic throughout too, because even afterwards he was the focal point of the CZW feud and the Cage of Death, and even though it was Bryan Danielson took him out of that because he's a dick.
Who is the Japanese wrestler that you had me watch that was just super chop fest?
I
can't think of his name right
Kenta
now.
Kobashi.
Yeah, that match was crazy.
Him and
Joe?
I felt bad.
Yeah.
It was almost like what Daniel Bryan's chest looked like after that greatest Royal Rumble where Roderick Strong just destroyed him for a while.
Yeah,
both of them just... Like, I want to say 80% of the match was just one of them in the corner getting chopped. And then they'd reverse it, and the other one would get chopped. Yeah. And then they'd do 2 wrestling moves, and then they were back in the corner. It was great.
And Samoa Joe's dark complexion, the next night, you could even still see the bruising on it.
Crazy.
Like,
yeah, I remember Joe mostly from TNA as well with his matches against AJ Styles and those matches, and Christopher Daniels too. Man, the 3 of those guys in a triple threat match. That's one of the highlights from TNA. I feel anywhere on that list, but. Yeah, that was phenomenal stuff. Joe, again, one of those plus-size guys that can do amazing things that just, it works. He makes it his deal.
I don't know why, but one of my favorite spots that only he does is if someone goes for a drop kick when he comes off the rope, all he does is just sidestep. And that cool as hell and let the guy drop. That was just always awesome to me.
All right, let's move on to CM Punk. And for him, you just have to say 3 words, right? Summer of Punk.
Yes.
One of the more famous wrestling storylines ever, especially for a smaller company like Ring of Honor. The visual of him signing his WWE contract on the Ring of Honor Championship is going to live on for a long time.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Also great in the ring, of course.
Yeah, I remember, before I got into Ring of Honor good, I remember hearing about the story. But he just goes... He got the belt from Austin Aries. It's supposed to be Punk's final match, and then he wins the title. And like the crowd's reaction is almost Undertaker losing to Brock level of like, holy crap, he won. And then he had those few defenses, just healing up the whole time. They got an hour draw against Christopher Daniels and beat Joe also, and ended up having the 4-way to lose the title to James Gibson. It would in a great match because the crowd felt like he was going to win that, and had his farewell against his best friend at the time, Colt Cabana, the next night, and that farewell was good. And I remember even came back when they had a nasty snowstorm and almost canceled a show, and Punk showed up to help him out, and so he could be a nice guy. Yeah, his run was great, and it just got me, like when he started the ECW and WWE when he was in it got me excited for it, and it took him a while to get to that point again, obviously, but it was worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he had a 56-day reign, like Doof was saying. It wasn't very long, but one of the better ones in ROH for sure. And again, mostly I know him stuff from the ECW Rebirth and WWE, but another one of those guys that you didn't seem in the greatest of shape, but again, he could do anything.
Yeah.
He knew how to work the ring and the storylines and everything like that. And he knew how to put it together a match very well. So we'll leave it at that.
In the most basic of ways, even.
Yeah.
The subtle things he does.
All right, so the first 4 we talked about all won major championships in WWE. Well, Samoa Joe was NXT champion, but that's still a major championship. One that probably could have if it wasn't for injuries and I forget what went down when he was in TNA.
And health. I think he had like hepatitis or something.
Okay, but something went down where he just couldn't wrestle anymore. Now is commentary for NXT. That's Nigel McGuinness. Pretty good at commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that whole NXT crew, I think, is really good with Beth Phoenix and Ronaldo, and I think they do a really good job. Again, I didn't see a ton of Nigel. The most I remember of him was his weird haircut.
Yeah, I didn't know of him much either, but he was awesome when I saw him. Like, he had a match with Bryan Danielson, and he willfully let his head get driven into the steel ring post over and over to get busted open hard way to no injury. But then the next week, he took a back suplex and got a concussion. So
that's how it works.
Yeah, he was what William Regal could have been in WWE, just that European style, uppercut submissions, and can just be a total dick, but be good at it. And his title reign was really good too. He beat Takeshi Morishima, the Japanese project they had. Just big Japanese guy, throws you around, and it was really cool to see. And turned heel in the middle of his reign too, because for some reason people got tired of him. Then it made him awesome again. And he also put Tyler Black / Seth Rollins on the map to me also in one of his title reigns. Or defenses, I should say.
It's crazy how many WWE superstars now you had me watch on DVDs 15 years ago, it seems like.
I knew nothing about Nigel McGuinness except for what Doof just told me. Other than the little tidbit I found, he had a 545-day reign with a 1 title reign.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Last one here, Mr. Jay Lethal, another guy that I mostly know from his TNA days, and the fact that he has a fantastic Ric Flair impression that they did for a long time on that show, which was great.
And Macho Man.
I was like,
Macho Man was good too. He's very good at impressions, very good at wrestling too, obviously. Yeah. And again, I didn't know a ton of his Ring of Honor stuff. Ring of Honor came after TNA, right?
I think started around the same time.
Was it both?
Yeah. I think it was like 02 or something like that. But yeah, Lethal, he's still there to this day. Like, he was
maybe that's what I'm thinking, that he's still around. But
yeah, because he started as Hydra or something like that, and then he was like Samoa Joe's protege for a bit, and left for a while, and came back, and has been world champ multiple times, and his matches always just deliver. And because even in TNA he was good, but I don't think he ever was TNA.
He never got really pushed.
Yeah,
no.
he got X Division champ, I think, as Black Machismo, but he's just really, really good in the ring. And he's not boring in any way. And you'd think like, oh, it's Jay Lethal and this guy again, and Jay Lethal brings the best out of him. I think he's, to me, the best guy that hasn't stepped foot in WWE yet. And I don't know if he ever will, but if he doesn't, I won't be heartbroken because he's still really good.
Right. 2 reigns, 707 days. Again, mostly everything I know, like Randy, TNA, of any of these guys that would have been from TNA days and little things that we've seen through the network. But yeah, Jay Lethal's another one of those guys that can put together any match, make anybody look better in the ring, in, out of the ring. His promos always deliver, and he's, again, another phenomenal worker.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad Jay Lethal hasn't come up to WWE, because I honestly think he would get the Robert Roode status.
Yeah.
Get pushed in NXT or whatever, and then just be used as a supplemental talent, trying to put people over, which is fine. I mean, especially for Robert Roode, because he's a little up there in age.
Yeah. At
that point, he doesn't need a huge feud or a big title run or anything. I mean, it would be great as a fan of him, but he would work great as, okay, we need to get this guy over. We need to make him look good. Okay, put him up against Ziggler. Put him up against Roode. Put him up against Cesaro. Cesaro's always been great at that. And I think that's where Jay Lethal would be if he ended up going to WWE. So let him just continue in Ring of Honor and honestly make people look good down there.
Yeah.
So now it's the tough part of ranking these 6 for only one bigger Ring of Honor fan, one that watched DVDs, and one that hasn't watched a ton. What we got? What do you think?
I think Bryan Danielson top, because he, like, between him and Joe, I think those are like the feuds that helped put him on the map. Again, Joe's like obviously Joe and Punk, I didn't mention them, they had a hell of a trilogy also that got the old Meltzer 5-star rating for their second hour-long draw. That honestly feels like half an hour watching it. It was as basic as the match was. It just sucked you in the whole time.
All right, who goes bottom?
I almost think...
It's hard.
As much as I hate saying it, I almost think Nigel.
I was thinking, just, again, not knowing a ton.
Yeah.
I was thinking either Nigel or Kevin.
Yeah, that was a toss-up for me also. Because Steen, he was also tag and all that, but he was in and out a lot. Mm-hmm. And I still don't even know if it was a work or if it was a shoot, the way sometimes he left the place, which is good.
Yeah.
Not angry at
that. And I will say one person, or I guess two people that just barely missed the cut, and if we ever do get comments, we'd get it for there. The Briscoes would probably be on here because they've been there for 100 years.
Day one.
And obviously we've had title reigns all over the place. But so Steen 5th?
Yeah.
Okay. What are we thinking? Lethal, Joe, or Punk? 2, 3, 4.
I want to put Punk as 4 just because his longevity wasn't like the others. Mm-hmm. Because Bryan Danielson was off and on as well, but he was more, I think he left more 08, 09, like year 7 or 8, but because like Lethal, like the more I keep seeing his name, like that guy's been there forever. You know, those first few years were just more enhancement.
Yeah. So Lethal or Joe?
I almost think Lethal.
Lethal too?
Yeah. Because Joe came back for a spell before he went to NXT, which was entertaining. I think he went and crushed Tyler Black, which was... Actually, it was one of those TNA let him use them, but it couldn't be on the DVD, so it was only on the live show or something like that. And
all right, so that is Douche List
for
top 6 Ring of Honor wrestlers. We have Bryan Danielson, Jay Lethal, Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Kevin Steen, Nigel McGuinness. It would be great if the WWE could just buy Ring of Honor, at least their tape, so they could put it on the network, and it'd be easier to watch that stuff. So we could do more like Ring of Honor matches and stuff. I know we want to do TNA stuff, but that's behind a paywall.
Yeah.
And we just haven't went that direction
a paywall
yet.
We don't want to pay yet.
No, not yet. I mean, WWE, it has a paywall, but it has so much, so much stuff on there.
If Randy had a list, he would have made the cheeseburger would have been on here.
Shut up. I'm done. I'm out of here. We're going to do the worst 6 wrestlers, and it's all cheeseburger. Also, the dumbest wrestling names of all time.
That's what we should do, is the dumbest wrestling names of all time.
It's we're making it now. Cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger and Dolph Ziggler already.
Curry Man.
Curry Man was awesome.
Yeah, he's hot and spicy.
Why don't we do Curry Man for greatest entrance theme?
Very true.
Maybe we just need to do best entrances, like what they do to the
Shark Boy.
Shark Boy was great. We're going down a rabbit hole that we don't need to go down.
Of cheeseburger.
I'm hungry now. No, I'm not. No, I know what we're doing later as far as our recording date. I'm not hungry. Not hungry at all. You guys have already seen it. No. All right. Bye.
Have a good day.